Well, hi everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and we are live on a Friday evening. And welcome, this is Smile Time. I'm starting today a little earlier because, boy, that's bright sun out there, isn't it? Anyway, I'm starting today a little earlier because I am going to be blowing my horn at 7 o'clock. And I thought what I would do is show you how that's done. You know, it's really interesting because everybody thinks that you blow into a horn, you know, like this. Doesn't do anything, okay? Does absolutely nothing. So what I want you to do, and I'd like you to practice this at home, so if ever you get near a horn, you'll be able to do it when you get one, is actually start doing this. You go, if you can make that noise, you can blow a horn. Are you doing it? I hope so. So, got it? So don't blow into a horn, you... Now, it gets a bit more complicated than that, obviously. And by the way, I am not good at this. Oh, good, Isabel can do it. Good, so you're going to be able to blow a horn if you ever get near one. People will be most impressed. Not many people can do it because people think you blow into it when you don't. So then the next step, Isabel, is you go... Can you make that noise? Because if you can, all that happens is you make that noise and this accentuates it. All right, now, the funny thing is that it's pretty loud, but I'm still working on the, it's been a long time since I've blown a horn, so I'm still working at getting a noise out of it. So there you go, so you can do that. You can make that noise, you can blow a horn, and play the flute. By the way, playing the flute is the same thing. You do it with the same sort of thing. You don't blow into it, you sort of go like that into it. But a horn much more so, that sort of... Got it? So that's what I'm going to be doing in 3 minutes down here. I just need to warm up the horn a bit. Hi, Kimmy. We're just starting a little bit early because I promised the neighborhood I would blow the horn for them. I've been blowing the horn for them every night to, you know, thank our first line responders. So I said I'd still do it. I just would need to warn the viewers that I was doing it. So, okay, if you can make that noise, you can blow a horn. Because you don't blow into it, you do that into it. Okay, so I'm just not trying to blow it yet. I'm just trying to warm it up. That's warmed me up as well. Now, I know what some of you are saying. If I tried that, it would be dangerous, you know. I assure you that I feel the same way. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes to go. Any questions? It actually is amazing that I found a use for it at this time. You know, it was so funny because I watched everybody going out banging their pots and pans, and I was going, what have I got that would make... I didn't want to ruin my good pots and pans, so I thought, you know, and my old pots and pans I put into the trailer and sold it with the trailer. But, you know, it's just like, yeah, I got good pots and pans now. You're getting to see the horn in action. So, Jodi, did you see how to do it? Don't blow. You do that. You finally started to your weight loss vlog. Well done. Good for you. I'm proud of you, Kim. All right, we got another minute to go, and then I can blow it. Okay, I'm going to blow it a couple of times, all right? And there we go. Oh, now I need to tell you, what surprises me is that I still have the lung capacity to be able to do that. I'm quite impressed with myself because, as you can probably imagine, that's it's a fair amount of air that you need to be able to do that. And what I will do is, in a couple of more minutes, I will do it again to tell them that they can stop now. Anna Marie, how is your daughter doing? Just while we do this update. And while we're waiting for me just to do the end of the, I think I'll let them do 3 minutes today. What I wanted to say to you all is that I don't know what you are doing to support the frontline workers, such as Anna Marie's daughter. Oh, that's good to hear. She's apparently feeling better and the fever has gone. That is awesome to hear. I'm so happy, genuinely happy. Jodi, can you make a note so that I can put that up on the weekly update on that one? So what I want to be able to do is to just make sure that we keep in touch with everybody. By the way, if you missed today's lunchtime broadcast, I really recommend you check it out. It was about rationing. It was about what could happen to the food supply and, you know, what food you could end up getting in a week. And I think everybody that was there will tell you it was quite an eye-opener in terms of what could be coming down the line. The other thing that I spoke about is the fact that they're saying that by the end of the year, we could have 269 million people in poverty, severe poverty, not just a little bit hungry, but severe. And we need to be aware of that because we will need to help feed them if we possibly can. And that means our food supply will be lessened. And yeah, that's pretty sad, isn't it? Okay, it's 3 minutes after, so I'm going to tell them they can stop now. Just hold on 1 second. There we go. All right, now I have done my bit for the day. And I guess as long as I can still do that, I am fairly healthy. Yes, Kim, and that's why I recommend that you check out that cost that we did. Because what I was talking about is what could happen and what, you know, as I said right at the beginning of the broadcast at lunchtime, you know, if we don't learn from history, we are destined to repeat it and to our detriment. And so please take a moment, if you can, just to see some of the things that are happening already. For example, I gave some figures about what is already happening in Kenya and in India. And we are just at the beginning of this. We're not at the end of it. We're at the beginning of it. And so, you know, it could be extremely difficult going down the pike. And I wanted to make sure you were all prepared and not scared. Feel free to participate in the broadcast, and I thank you if you are new. We don't normally start with a horn, but we will be doing so on Fridays because as long as we're in the pandemic, that is my contribution in my community to starting off their pots and pans things. And, you know, the banging of the pots and pans, they now wait for my horn because it carries a long way. The pots and pans, people can't hear it very far, but that you can hear quite a way away. The other thing is that what I want you to do, hi Rensky, good to see you. What I want you to do is to watch that video that we did at lunchtime and be really aware of how serious this is getting and will become. And if you do that, then you will be in a better place than a lot of people who think, ah, it's, I don't have to social distance anymore, it's over, whatever. Not true. So Smile Time today comes to you courtesy of Jodi, as usual. If you're new to the broadcast, please make sure you press the subscribe button here and also on the bell. And on the bell, it's going to ask you, do you want to be have all notifications come to you? Please say yes, because that will tell you if we're going to be doing a broadcast. Maybe we do an extra one and you would like to know about that. So, make sure you press that. If you haven't followed us on Facebook and Twitter, Facebook, really important. That's where I update you. If I get news about how Anna Marie's daughter is doing during the week, that's where I'll put it. And it's like our little notice board there on Facebook. And I do 35-minute warnings most times of the broadcasts on Facebook and on Twitter. Sometimes it's a little less than 35 minutes. It depends how good a day I'm having. All right, so here we go. These smiles are from Jodi, as usual. And the first one, I've got to tell you something. I so related to it that I literally burst out laughing. So take a deep breath. Here we go. My superpower is holding on to junk for years and throwing it away a week before I need it. Does anybody relate? I've got a story around it, Jodi. One day I was leaving my bedroom and I saw this disc on the ground and I thought, wonder what that is. And I went to put it away carefully, which is the way I normally do things. And, it was at the beginning of the downsizing. And I went, Sal, you've got to learn to throw things away. So I did. And after the garbage collection had happened, I realized what the disc was. It was the spare toggly thing that starts my car. You know what I mean? I've got a demobilizer on my car. So to mobilize my car, you need that disc. And that was my backup one that I threw away. It came, it was glued onto a fob and it had fallen off. So I don't have a backup anymore. Anybody got a story like that? Please feel free to tell it. So my superpower is holding on to things for years normally and throwing it away a week before I need it. Yep. I threw mine away before I realized what it was. And it was the next day. You know how it is, right? You're going, oh my gosh, I now know what that was. As I went to start my car, I went, that's what that disc was. Roger Dangerfield, so this is funny, said, I haven't spoken to my wife in years. I didn't want to interrupt her. Yeah, we do talk a lot, don't we? So this one definitely is worth a thought for those of you who are dog owners. And how many of you are, by the way? I know Jodi is. Who else is a dog owner? All right, so here it is. It says, do regular dogs see a police dog and think, uh-oh, it's a cop? Right, Anna Marie. I had a feeling you were, Anna Marie. Yeah, Anna Marie is as well. So I must admit there are times when I would love to be inside a dog's head, because I remember Bean could give me a look that really told me what he thought of me. And, it was an eye roll type look. And it was like, really? Are you serious about that? And I'm going, yeah, I'm serious. And what I found so interesting in having a dog is you can have a really serious conversation with a dog and they will follow along with you. And I used to go, and Bean, did you hear what happened to me when I went in the store? And he'll be sitting there going, yeah, tail will be going, yeah. And I go, and he goes, and then, can you believe that? And he's going, whack, 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 whack. Just like, amazing. By the way, one of the things that I have here in my, no, not in my pantry here. I put it by the door. I've got dog biscuits because I found people bring their dogs to do that trip with the pots and pans. So I now take dog biscuits with me. And the dogs come running to check if I've got them. All right, so Jodi's saying, I threw away a paycheck with a batch of junk mail 20 years ago. I went looking for it frantically in the trash and then realized and saying, that's not junk mail. So you actually found it. You didn't shred it. Of course, I would have shredded it. How many of you now just put things into the shredder? So my new trick is I've got a system. I've got a box into which I throw my junk mail, and it stays there for a year. And last year's junk mail is the stuff I'm shredding. For that very reason, Jodi. I've done that so many times. This one is a truism. Carl Sandburg said, life is like an onion. You peel it off one layer at a time, and sometimes you cry. So anybody want to know how to peel an onion without crying? Let me know. I will demonstrate it yet again. This one is a Jodi classic. I love it. And it says, a cop pulled me over and told me papers. So I said, scissors. I won and I drove off. Okay, so all right, this is really easy. Okay, so I just want to get rid of some of that time. Hold on a second. Might make it a bit easier for you. Can you see better now? All right, so you can see this. Can you hear me okay? Let me know if you can hear me okay. Hello? Yep. Okay, good. All right, so the first thing you do is you cut the two ends off. 1, 2. Am I crying? Yeah. I'm not crying, right? So now this is the interesting bit. Do you see the layers? Cut through a full layer, right? So you literally just go like this. I actually normally cut through about 3 just because I want to make sure I get it right. But now I'm going to peel off the first full layer, including that membrane. It's the membrane that makes you cry. So now here we go. Peel that off. Peel that off. Peel that off. Am I crying? No. Now I can chop the onion. Done. Now I need to wash my hands. No, I don't. Now I need to put it away. Okay. And that's it. That is how you chop an onion, without crying. How many of you going, that looked way too easy? The trick is how far you cut into the onion, all right? It is that membrane that sits between the first and second layer that makes you cry. That's what I found out. It is a great trick. Now, obviously, if you are somebody that likes to hold on to the one end because that's how you do your dicing, make a plan. Hi, Rebecca, good to see you. So, but it's so easy to cut an onion without crying. Whenever I, do things like charity events and so forth, and they're doing burgers and stuff, I always volunteer to cut the onions, and people are going, "Are you mad?" And I go, "No, they don't make me cry because I know how to cut them." Quite simple. So there you are. That's your learning moment. All right, Jodi found this one, and it says, "All my life I thought air was free until I bought a bag of chips." And this one I think is so cute. And it says, yeah, it definitely puts you in as Rebecca on this one. That's okay. We're happy to see you here. For those of you who know Ronnie's shakes, he said, "I fear that one day I will meet God and he'll sneeze and I won't know what to say." I think we might have had that one before, but it's just so cute, isn't it? I mean, what do you say? They say that on Mercury, a day lasts 1,408 hours, just like every Monday does here on Earth. All right. Kimmy's asking, what kind of foods beside dry goods should we be buying stock up on? We were talking about that at lunchtime. Our lunchtime broadcast is the Be Prepared, Not Scared one, Kim. So we talked about that a bit at lunchtime, what other things. I'm actually doing a rotation. I'm now looking at pastas and pasta sauces. I'm trying to stock up on that, just so that you know. And then this coming week, I will move on to another category, and I'm just rotating it as I go. It is obviously up to you what you choose to get. Quite honestly, think, what foods will you miss the most, right? Think about that. What foods will you miss the most? In my case, coffee. So I'm definitely overstocking with coffee. I also believe coffee will be so expensive that people won't be able to buy it. So I might be able to use it as a commodity to sell. So I am just buying as much coffee, quite honestly, as I can get my hands on at the moment. Just every week when I do my shopping, if it's on sale, I'll buy another can of it. But think about what we talked about things like cheese. You won't be able to buy cheese necessarily, so I'm starting to buy bottled cheese like Cheese Whiz, all right, just so that I can still make things with cheese. So you really have to think about what it is that you enjoy eating. All right, so Becca, I was talking about food shortages and the hunger crisis that is already starting, and what to be prepared for and how to stock up, and that's what I've been talking about for over a month now, is how to prepare yourself for what could be coming. All right, so here's the next smile one. If by crunches you mean the sound of bacon when I eat it, then yes, I do crunches. How many of you relate to that? um, so we've done a whole series. So for those of you who are interested in the, be prepared, not scared, they are the skills broadcasts on Sundays. We started them about 3 weeks ago, where every Friday lunchtime I've been doing be prepared, not scared stuff. Watch out for what's coming. And I think some of you already can see that it's more difficult to buy certain things in the stores, and what you can buy is getting much more expensive, and it will get worse. I would recommend, Becca's saying I tend to take the ignorance is bliss mentality. Sure, that's your right. What I talked about at lunchtime, Becca, was, look back in history. If you ignore history, you will be in trouble. And so I look back at what happened in the 1918, 1910, whatever it was, pandemic, and what followed it. I look at what happened in the wartime, all those sort of things. So I've been trying to make sure that my viewers are updated on whatever information I can find and whatever ideas I can give you on how to prepare for this. How many of you relate to this one? As long as everything is exactly the way I want it, I'm totally flexible. Yeah, I can be very flexible if everything's going my way. Yeah, Kimmy's saying that already oranges and apples are scarce where she is, all right? That's why I'm saying learn the art of dehydration. Hang on a second. Okay, I'm only bringing 4 with me, but just so that you can, these are my dehydrated grape tomatoes. Rather than let them go bad, I dehydrated them. I'm starting now doing peppers, dehydrating what's left at the end of the week. This is red onion, which, by the way, I really recommend, not only as a great thing to crumble over your salads, but they are great as a snack. Jodi will tell you that as well. Really tasty as a snack. Caramelized onion. And mushrooms I'm starting to, expect fruits and vegetables to be more and more difficult to get, which is why I've been teaching everybody how to grow your own lettuce, why I've been teaching you all how to grow your own food hydroponically. So they are, aren't they? I should be chewing it longer than I'm trying to. Yeah, I definitely ordered an extra onion this week just so I could caramelize some more. All right. So be aware. The other thing is this, I'm going to start getting fruit and dehydrating fruit next. That's my next thing. I think dehydration takes up the least amount of room. And that's what I'm looking for. My fridge is already full. By the way, I tried to buy a freezer, and the earliest I could get a freezer was July, but I'm still going to get one, I think. That's on my list to do this week. But, think about what you've got. I'm looking at what is the shelf life of string cheese. I'm beginning to have a look at that. What if you freeze it? I would think the shelf life of it would be pretty good. So that's one reason why I need a freezer. I'm going to need to freeze some cheese. And I have frozen cheese. The only thing is when you thaw frozen cheese, it crumbles. So that is your cheese that you use, shredded cheese. Is the fastest way to shred cheese is to freeze it. How many of you relate to this one? A perfect metaphor for my life would be someone trying to stand up in a hammock. And by the way, that's very relevant to me this week because I put my hammock up and I got into it. It was only after I was in it that I thought, how do I get out of this now that I don't have core strength? And that was an moment. But what I found, and it's really interesting because people were telling me the right way to get out of a hammock. And I said, I really understand that you all know the right way to get out of a hammock. Let me tell you something. The only way I am going to get out of this hammock is to get my heels under my hips and then stand straight up. There will be no swinging of my legs or doing whatever. I could kill myself that way. I am just going to keep working my feet back until my heels are under my hips, and then I can push on the hammock and stand up, which, by the way, works. But it just takes a little bit of organization to get my heels far enough back. I have to sort of walk them back until they're in the right place, and then I can do it. Now, Jodi, you must have smiled when you found this one, which says life is too short for fake butter, cheese, or people. Now, this is from the lady who has already bought fake. Actually, you bought powdered butter and powdered cheese, I believe, Jodi. I've managed to find the powdered peanut butter. Becca's saying I like the stop, drop, and roll technique. Yeah, I couldn't do that where my where my hammock is because it's on rocks, pointy rocks. Becca, would be very painful for me. All right, so you've already got cheese and butter as well. I tried to get both those powdered this week. Couldn't get it where I am, but I will. I'll keep checking. And by the way, the trick is to keep looking until you get it. I've noticed that the delivery times on the supermarkets is a lot better now. They've got the system sorted out much better. How many of you recognize this one? That fail moment when you pull your blankets up and punch yourself in the face. There are a number of ways you can buy it, Anna Marie. You can do it. Some of them you can get through Amazon if you're lucky. But then Medallion and people like that who make those products also have websites. So you might get lucky. All right. So Kimmy's saying fruit and veggies are what I eat because of my celiac disease. Yeah, so if that's why I'm saying, if you need fruits and vegetables, you may want to start learning how to dehydrate them. It would be a really good idea. And, have a couple of bottles of frozen, of dehydrated fruit. These are... Oh, yeah, these are my dehydrated tomatoes. Yeah. So I quite honestly, Anna Marie, the way I found it was I just literally typed in dehydrated or powdered butter, and I just see what comes up. It's that easy. We got Google. We're so lucky. They didn't have that in the war. But they're mostly sold out already. So just be aware. I'm not saying that you are going to need it, but wouldn't it be nice to have it? No, I gave away my dehydrator years ago. These, I just chopped the grape tomatoes in half and put them in my toaster oven on the lowest setting or overnight. And in fact, that's how I do all of these. While I'm sleeping on a very low heat, I've got things drying. And I will continue to dry whatever I can from this point onwards. You know, what I'm thinking about, Anna Marie, is not about just feeding me, but feeding other people as well. And so dehydrated foods are great for adding into stews or for adding into, you know, things like shepherd's pie or whatever. So that's why I'm doing it. Don't need a dehydrator if you've got a toaster oven or if you've got a regular oven. You just leave it at the lowest setting. Quite honestly, I believe that you could almost do it with just the light on. Plus, if it's summer coming up where you are, you know, that's how they used to do it. Sun-dried tomatoes are sun-dried tomatoes. So you could put them on a baking sheet during the day in the sun, and that will do a pretty good job. Just remember to turn them, you know, every couple of hours. And, you know, in some places, the sun will already be too hot almost. You know, you might need a shady place, but warm. I also would cover them with a net of some sort if you've got a cake net type thing, you know, so you're not getting flies and things there. Give that some thought. How many of you agree that eggs are a fantastic fitness food? And by the way, this person who is anonymous said, and if you don't like that taste, just add cocoa, flour, sugar, baking powder, and cook the whole lot up for 30 minutes. I'm also doing that. I've bought, just when I think about it, you know, I'm buying pre-made muffin mix, but what I'm doing is adding fruits to it. You know, I'm buying sultanas and cranberries and stuff. So when I make it, I'm just adding those in so that it ends up a healthier snack. Eggs are very expensive. You think they're expensive now, Kim. They are going to be incredibly expensive. And if you listen to the broadcast that we did at lunchtime, you're going to find out just how many eggs they allowed you during the rationing years. And by the way, the rationing years didn't stop at the end of the war. In England, what did they? It lasted another 9 years until the meat supply was back to normal. 9 years. So if you can get powdered eggs now, it's probably not a bad idea as well. You know, just think, what things will you miss the most? And if you can get them in a way that you can store them, then get them. Sometimes I forget how to spell a word, so I change the whole sentence to avoid using it. How many of you relate to that? I have done that so many times where I'm going, I just can't be bothered to check that out again. I'm just going to change the whole meaning. Yes, Anna Marie is saying not technically rationing here, but stores are limiting most items to 2 per person. Yes, that's not rationing, that's limiting. I agree with you, Anna Marie, that's not rationing. Rationing, as I was saying at lunchtime, and I gave the list of some of the things that you were allowed during the rationing times, and it included 1 egg a week per person, per adult, 1 egg. Think about that. All right. So this is more than likely, if we have got, 276 million people about to go into abject poverty around the world, you do understand we're going to have to be sending more flour and corn and things to support them. And that means that we will have less. That's my belief anyway. And so my point of view is be aware what's happening. If you're aware what's happening, you know what to buy. And don't complain about the fact that it's getting more expensive. I've been warning you that for 2 months. As soon as this started, I think I started to warn everybody, start stocking up, people. This is going to get way worse and going to get very expensive. To make a mistake is human, but to blame it on somebody else is even more human. I hope that some of you enjoyed that broadcast that we did about how not to blame others. And have any of you found that you are doing a good job now? Kimmy's saying, I remember my great-grandparents and the grandparents about, stories about wars and the Depression. Yes, repeat, check the history. You know exactly what to get stocks of. Becca's saying, the cool kids apparently are using the word woke to describe this socially aware mentality. Interesting, Becca, thank you. And Jodi is saying, our Walmart started the one-way aisles. How long ago did I say they were going to have to do that? 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago? More. I think back in March, I was talking about that. They need to go do one-way aisles. And people, just be aware, good people will keep to it, and the ones who don't care will not. And they will put us at risk. So be prepared, not scared. It's going to happen. Not everybody will obey it, because some people feel they are more entitled than others. Oh, I just need to go back a little bit to get what I need. Yep, that's the time it takes to get your virus spread. When I say we'll see, there's a 100% chance that that's not happening. I may even throw in oh, that sounds fun for decoration, but it's still not happening. Yeah, I'm really good about calling people on that stuff. If I say to them, "Are you going to be there?" They go, "Well, I'll try." Okay, that means you're not going to be there. No, I said I'll try. Yeah, but if you'll only try, believe me, you're not going to be there. I need a solid, yeah, I'll be there. By the way, some of you know that last week I had a death in my sphere of influence that was very close to me. I cannot tell you how difficult that's been, not to go and give people hugs and do those sort of things. And if I ever get it edited, I did a vlog about it, because it really affected me more than you can probably know. That not being able to go and hug somebody really touched me. Thanks, Anna Marie. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. How many of you agree with Woody Allen, who said life doesn't imitate art? It imitates bad television. Wow, Kimmy, that sounds incredible. Kimmy, I'm just going to let that go through. It went on a moderator thing here, Kimmy. So Kimmy's saying there are a bunch of people like that here. Like one lady coughed on me on purpose. She said I was stupid. I thought of smacking her. Well, she is the stupid one. Yeah. I'm so sorry. But Kim, they're going to be around, those people. All right? And unfortunately, I hope you were wearing a mask, and I hope you continue to wear a mask. So at least if you cough, you're protecting other people. Yeah, Jodi, not being able to hug somebody, and I actually had to explain how difficult I was finding that. Right, I had to phone up, not phone up, I actually did it on text, because we were talking on text at the time. And I said, I do hope you know that every fiber in my body.
This might answer your question. Hope is an optimistic state of mind that is based on an expectation of positive
Alexa, stop. I said, I cannot tell you how much I'm fighting the need to get in my car and drive and come and give you a hug. So, yeah, so you were following the rules. A cameo by Alexa, yes, no charge. By the way, I didn't think I would ever like Alexa, even though I got her. I didn't think I would ever like her, but I found that she has some really good uses. When you have both hands covered in flour or something, it is amazing to be able to say, Alexa, give me a 1 hour warning. I'm not doing it in a voice that she'll recognize, but give me a 1 hour warning for the bread, or 3/4 of an hour or something. Or, oh, I need to put so-and-so on the shopping list. Awesome for that. And, the fact that she picks up on what you're saying every now and then is a bit interesting, to put it mildly. It did it to the television one day. The television was on, and one of the characters one of the characters on the TV show was called that. And guess what? She kept answering. It was so funny. Okay, so Kim, this one is especially for you and that person. Dealing with some people is like trying to nail Jello to a wall. All right, they're never going to get it. And the person who coughed on you obviously wasn't wearing a mask, nor did they think they needed to. You see, they thought they were better than that. Yeah. So don't get upset by it. Be prepared for those silly people. And that's where the huge risk is. If we all did what the guidelines are, hey, we're not even allowed to see the guidelines. I mean, that was interesting, wasn't it? They prepared a 12-page guideline and it wasn't released, probably because it would keep stores shut. So, do the best research you can. You've got all the tools at your disposal to research, and make sure what you're reading is from, people or organizations that you trust. Be very careful. There is so much fake stuff out there at the moment. Very important that you be aware. I think, Kim, there's part of me that goes that I think that they might want to look at those people who intentionally do things like that the same way as they did with people who intentionally spread AIDS. Which, if you know that you are HIV positive and you have sex with somebody and don't tell them, that you really, yeah, exactly, Beth. That basically you have, it's almost attempted murder. And Beth is saying the same thing. Coughing on someone on purpose during the pandemic is borderline assault. I would agree with you. She's one of the bullies. Well, you know what happens to bullies, right? Right. That, when she did that, there's part of me that goes, what if you had shouted, be careful of the lady in aisle 5, she intentionally just coughed on me. You know how quickly she would end up leaving the store? Yeah, I really do ask you all to be very, very careful about what information you read and believe. And, check things out on Snopes. I've said this many times, because it is important. There's going to be a lot of misinformation. I try, when I bring you bits of information, I try to make sure that I have double checked it, that it's from a reputable source, not just, somebody making it up. I hope you know that. I take these things pretty seriously, as you know. This is a quote that Chris Como of CNN used yesterday, I believe. And it originally came from Winston Churchill during the war years. And he said, if you're going through hell, keep going. I lie, it wasn't Chris Cuomo, it was his brother, Andrew Cuomo. Is it Andrew that is the governor of New York City? It is Andrew, I think, right? Anyway, so if you're going through hell, keep going. It wasn't, he said it yesterday, and it was very impactful when he said it, but no, it originally came from Winston Churchill during the war years. And I was talking at lunchtime about the fact I remember rationing. I remember going down and getting candy with my ration card. And, how excited I was to be able to get some candy. Wasn't very much, and it had to last me for 2 weeks. Sydney Harris said, when I hear somebody sigh, life is hard, I'm always tempted to ask, compared to what? And if you think it's hard now, believe you me, it's about to get a lot worse. I am getting such simple joy out of growing, my lettuce and tomatoes and beans. I've had a lot of failures, but I don't mind. This is about practicing. I want to practice because by the time I need it, I'm going to know how to do it right. This one I thought would be very true for some of you. Thank God I don't have to hunt for my food. I don't even know where tacos live. Okay, let's have some more. And let's do, hang on a second, let's do a series of those. I'm very glad I don't have to hunt for food because I don't know where the pressurized can of cream lives. I am glad I don't have to hunt for food because oh, yeah, Jodi's saying that I don't know where the caramel latte lives. Yeah. Now, Jodi, I'm about to do, talking about that, I'm about to do a new experiment. I found out, to my horror, that whole milk powder does not foam. So my next experiment, Jodi, is does condensed milk foam? And if it does, I'm buying a couple of flats of it. You know what I mean? It's just like, I got a feeling that it does. But that is my next thing, because I'm pretty sure that powdered milk is going to be difficult. Beth's saying I've stocked up on Red Bull, right? Yeah, exactly. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is that you love. Just be aware. Here's the other thing I found, Beth. As those cans come into my house, I spritz them down with stuff. You know what I mean? And I leave them in my storage area. And I only drink last week's cans this week. Do you know what I mean? Just so I give enough time for that to be, depleted, if you like, if there is accidentally a virus sitting on there. I wonder if they still make milk powder. Absolutely. I buy it all the time. I use milk powder for my latte. It really, a skim milk powder though. And they do make full milk powder because I just bought a whole flat of it. I bought about 6 pounds of it. Because Jodi told me, I didn't realize, and you can buy it. It's like baby. What is it called, Jodi? Nidol? Nidol is whole milk powder. So if you can go to the baby aisle, Nido, yeah. If you go to the baby aisle and look for that there, or if you are ordering it online, just know that that is whole milk powder. Now, this one, for those dog owners, you will totally get this. For those of you who are not dog owners, maybe not so much. This morning, I saw a neighbor talking to her cat. It was obvious that she thought her cat understood her. I came home and told my dog, and we laughed a lot together. Yeah, nice one, Jodi. And for those of you who don't know, I've been a bit slow in telling this story, but Jodi is our admin, and her greatest joy every week is to put together these quotes for me for Sunday evenings. And Jodi, we really, you do a good job. I just have to find them and read them, and it was just like some of them. I love that superpower one because it was so true of me. And this next one has my name written all over it. And if it has any of your names written on it, please make sure you thank Jodi. Here we go. It has taken me some time to realize that buying craft supplies and actually using them are two separate hobbies. I always do that. If I end up in a craft store and I end up with, materials, and I will stand in the line, and I do it every time. Two things I say. Number one is, I came in for a zipper. What did you guys come in for? And everybody will tell you, piece of thread, da, 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 da. We're all sitting with a stack this high. And the next thing is I will say, am I the only one that buys material just so I can store it for the next 20 years? In case I think I'm going to use something. It's just like, really? And this one is definitely definitely a sign that you have got too much on your mind. My bed is a magical place where I suddenly remember everything I was supposed to do. um, I've definitely found that being on lockdown has changed my sleeping habits, and I'm even worse than I used to be. Have any of you found that? Hi, Lauren. Good to see you. Where I used to be, I used to go to bed late. Now I go to bed very, very late, or very, very early in the morning, depending on which way you look at that. And I used to, be embarrassed because I didn't wake up until 10. Well, it's getting to be more like 11 now. Oh, Jodi's saying at 4:30 in the morning she remembers everything. Yeah, that's right. But the other thing is, if you've seen anything that's really good to binge watch, the one thing I do not regret is when I got this Roku television, which I didn't know what that was, but when I got it, somebody told me to get Acorn TV, which is a lot of the Brit and the Australian programs. And I must say, I have not regretted that one bit. I have been thoroughly, in fact, I use Acorn TV more than Netflix, more than anything. So I am definitely not unhappy about that. Now this one you may want to just think about, but I do believe it to be true. Say what you will about women, but I think being able to turn one sentence into a 6-hour argument takes talent. Does anybody relate to that? It's so true, isn't it? And how do you like this one? You know, some people wake up feeling like $1,000,000. Me, I wake up feeling like insufficient funds. The other thing is, how many of you are remembering to change your shoes regularly at home? Right? You remember I said that to you a couple of months ago, as soon as we started going to lockdown. I try to change my shoes 3 times a day. You know, not that I'm wearing the same shoes all the time, because it's going to be really bad for our feet. By the way, I'm getting to the stage pretty soon where I'm going to need a refill on my meds. It'll be interesting to hear if I can do that online, or whether my doctor is going to insist that I go there. I am praying that that is not necessary. You know, in a way, I think I'm pretty fortunate because he knows I monitor things all the time. Why? Because I keep, reporting back to him. You know, he'll say to me, well, how's your resting heart rate been? And I'll go, well, at the moment I'm averaging 57, 58, and I can prove it. And he goes, that's insane for somebody of your age, so. And I go, yeah, I know. But you asked the question. And then, how's the weight going down? Yeah, it's undulating is what I say, right? Because it goes down and then at the moment I'm bouncing on this one place waiting for the next drop. But it's like plateauing and it keeps bouncing. But the good news is it's not going up. So he knows that I always can show him. I don't just tell him, I show him. And showing him tells him that I am on a daily basis keeping track. I will be able to call Jodi in as a witness to the fact that I record my blood sugar every single morning. The blood sugar reading that I have that is most problematic for me is the fasting one. That is the one I have to be careful of. For some reason, I seem to be able to assimilate the sugar, but it's the overnight one that has a problem, the fasting one. So, I keep track of that. And I think it's fair to say, Jodi, I've done pretty well, right? Hi, Nasha, good to see you back. So I'm hoping that he will, but what he can't do is he can't take my blood pressure, which he does every 3 months. Actually, Jodi, I had to order up some strips because the strips I ordered from overseas won't be here for a while, because of the delays of everything. So I just had to pay 4 times the amount to get local strips, and I think they'll arrive next week, or maybe even this week. But I just went, hey, better to have too many than not enough. How many of you agree with this one? Reality continues to ruin my life. I'd be really happy if I didn't have to deal with reality, right? Now, Jodi, I don't know where you found this one, but boy, is this the truth. I used to spin that toilet paper roll like it was on Wheel of Fortune. Now I turn it like I'm cracking a safe. All right, so a couple of ways to stop toilet paper from rolling very quickly. Number 1, squeeze it before you put it on the toilet paper roll so that it's not a perfect round. It's an oval and it'll keep getting stuck. The other thing that I found by accident is if you keep your toilet paper on a paper towel holder, I haven't got it here, but one of those ones that's got a pole that sticks up this way. If you put your toilet paper on there, it does not pull as easily. I found when it was vertical, I didn't use nearly as much. The other thing is, how many of you are finding you use less toilet paper? And I've got some really It's like I literally have cut my use of toilet paper down dramatically. And that's material you kept buying at the craft store. Start cutting it up into face cloth type sizes, and use that. And I have a container next to my toilet with Lysol in it, and I use material and I throw it into the Lysol mixture, and then every morning when I do the wash, that goes in first. And I want to tell you something. It's like I have cut my toilet paper usage down, I would think, at least by 3/4. All right. So think about that. And some of you going, "Ew," and I'm going, believe you me, I've got better things to spend my money on at the moment. Then that is such a no-brainer. However, if you're going to do it, make sure the pieces of material are big enough that you don't think it's toilet paper. Yes, Beth is saying, I didn't know I was spending that much money on stupid stuff. Yeah, you and I both. Mind you, I have to tell you, I am probably spending at least $50 a week more, with the stocking up process, at least. I try to keep it to $50 a week more. But, and I'm going to keep doing it for as long as, it's possible. If you could see me, this would be true of me. I started drinking my coffee out of a clear mug so people would know where my tolerance level is at. Jodi's saying it's real life practical advice, and these are unprecedented times. Well, that's why I keep looking back, Jodi, in history. What did they do? You didn't have the luxury of 3-ply, mega roll toilet paper in those days. And so to me, I'm going, I want to start doing it now so I won't feel that shift. And by the way, now I'm going, gosh, I can't believe how much toilet paper I literally threw down the toilet. How much money I threw down the toilet. Now, if I do anything other than pee, I use toilet paper. I don't mind telling you that. Right, and this one I think we all can relate to if you've got a smartphone. I just spent 15 minutes searching for my phone in my car while using my phone as the flashlight. Totally agree with that one. Beth is saying, I'm lucky I work in retail. If I need something, I just go to the storeroom and shop from there. Yeah, it's an employee perk. We get first dibs. Yeah, absolutely. Jodi's saying, how many paper towels I've wasted. Jodi, are you finding that rinsing out your paper towels is working for you? Just for those of you who might not have seen that, when I use a paper towel now, I throw it in the washing up bin, basin in my sink. Okay. And then when I'm loading up the dishwasher, I then rinse out the paper towels and I stick them in a coffee tin. Oh, I rinse them out, and then overnight they just dry on my oven. And then in the morning, I've got, I've got a sort of a stack of them, and I just literally put them in my coffee tin, and I've been using them. Jodi, isn't it amazing how well they last? Some of these I've used probably 6 or 7 times. Yes, good, Niasha. Niasha saying, since you spoke about reusing of tissues and other materials, I'm now reusing tissues I've only worked my hands on before, right? Yeah, and I used to throw it away subconsciously, yeah. Now I store them. Yeah, I literally, you will find that paper towels are so strong, they're amazing. And literally, I can throw it in with my washing up stuff, And after I've put everything into the dishwasher, I put some soap. I just, quietly suds them up a bit, rinse them, boom, put them flat on my oven top. And in the morning, they go into the bin. And now a roll of paper towel lasts me, again, I would say at least 3 times as long. I still, if I use it to pick up greasy stuff, really greasy stuff, I don't bother then. Then it goes into my recycling. No, not my recycling. What am I talking about? My compost. But again, only after I've rinsed it. So just a thought. But it is one way that I found that really has made a great difference. And as you all know, I'm inclined to use face cloths instead of paper towels anyway. I keep a pile of face cloths that are a different color. My face cloths that I use for my face are white. And my face cloths that I use as paper towels are, different color. So I know which is which. And by the way, when I've used my face cloths enough, I will dye them to be a different color so that they then become my paper towel cloths. For those of you who love opera, forgive us for this one that Jodi found. Opera is when a guy gets stabbed in the back and instead of bleeding, he sings. Cute, huh? I am not an early bird or a night owl. I am some form of permanently exhausted pigeon. I have definitely found, though, this whole business about the fact that I get up so late these days. When I tell people, you can see their eyes roll, and I will look at them and say, excuse me, I worked a lifetime to earn this right. I just don't do mornings anymore. Right? It's just like, so be it. Right? I don't mind that you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's, great. Go right ahead. I don't have to. You see, that is the difference. I don't have to. Well, I don't have to be anywhere at any given time, except, certain days of the week when I, read to the children, or I've got how many of you are using teleconferencing a lot more, or video conferencing a lot more now that you're in lockdown? I hope a lot of you. I try to make sure I do, at least a couple of them during the week, other than the broadcast. Yeah. So I don't know. I really do think I've earned that right. I've earned the right not to have to impress anybody anymore. I've earned the right to do what I choose to do with what's left of my life. I'd like to remind us all that this time next year, none of us might be here. Enjoy it. I also will probably next week be doing another major thing on Friday lunchtime about what to watch out for mental health wise. Because boy, are we going to need to keep our mental health in check. And this one's a great quote, Jodi. To my parents who said staying at home and playing video games would never prepare you for the real world, checkmate. Well, I keep thinking if in doing these broadcasts, I have helped one of you be better prepared and less scared, then it's worth all the time I spend putting it together. It took a while putting all that stuff together for today's lunchtime broadcast, but I do believe it was of value. And so to me, it's like, That's what I'm looking for. Did I give you something that hopefully will help you? Last year, we spent a year talking about emotional intelligence, and I'm going to be doing it again in different ways because we are going to need more emotional intelligence in the coming months than we've ever had before. Right? And the reason is that because they're going to be more and more stupid people out now. As they release the restrictions, they're going to be more and more stupid people out, and you're going to get more and more scared. And you have choices. You know, if you have to go out, you have to go out. Just be smart about when you go. Think about it. You know, when do those sort of people go shopping? And don't go shopping at that time. Because my experience has been that if you are smart, you can do this. You know, try to think about stores I can go to that are off the beaten track, you know, not the most obvious store. Support, you know, a smaller store just so that you hopefully will get more of what you need. I like this one. You know, when you buy a bag of salad and it goes all brown and soggy, well, cookies don't do that. And do you know how to make hard cookies soft again? I think you just put some bread in the cookie jar. Am I right on that one? Somebody who's more intelligent than I've got a feeling my mind says that if you put a piece of bread in a cookie jar, it will soften up the cookies again for whatever reason. Who cares the reason? Does it work is all I'm interested in. Something to do with the gases it emits will, yeah, hydrate the cookies again. Pretty sure it was bread. And this one definitely is a good one, which is I'm just waiting to see if my coffee chooses to use its powers for good or evil today. That's a nice one. Becca's saying, hey, just hold the cookie in your mouth a little bit longer. Yes, or dunk it. I'm sure that's why they got into the habit of dunking cookies. All right, if they were a little bit stale in the war years, you just dunked it in your tea. Okay, Jodi's confirming it. Bread, yep, bread in the cookie jar if you need it. How many of you know how to soften up brown sugar? All right, so Niasha's saying she's in Trinidad and Tobago. She's saying that their prime minister gave a deadline of May 10th for the stay-at-home order. Tomorrow he's addressing the nation, and I'm holding my breath. I'm scared of what he'd say. Don't be scared. Be prepared. He's probably going to, loosen some of the restrictions. Don't be scared. Be prepared. All right? And if that's what he does, it will be a little less safe, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get the virus. It means that the chances of people spreading it has increased. But again, it doesn't mean that you will necessarily get it. Makes sense? But I do understand, Yasha, that, living where you live, it's a very frightening thing. It's a very frightening thing for anybody. Imagine all the people we know living in New York City. Very frightening. And we haven't begun to see the real numbers yet of what's happening in places like Alabama and Georgia and, Louisiana and those sort of places. That I think in the next month, we're going to see a whole different story coming out of those areas. Why? Very sociable people, not people who obey necessarily a lot of orders in their lives, and they like to live life their way in a lot of ways, and it's going to be scary. I've decided I'll never get down to my original weight, and I'm okay with that. After all, I think 6 pounds, 3 ounces is a little unrealistic. Nice one, Jodi. I don't know where you find these, but we are so glad that you do. All right, but you see, Nyasha, that is life. Nyasha's saying our country is lawless. Some aren't compliant to the law enforcement orders. Well, some people in Canada aren't compliant with law enforcement orders. How many people don't stop at the stop sign properly, or don't stop at the traffic light properly, or do whatever? That's not just your country; it's any country, right? So, and that's life. The same way as I was trying to convince some local residents that, the 80-20 rule is always going to apply. 80% of the work will be done by 20% of the people. And, if you want to change something, don't wait for somebody else to change it. Be the change agent if you can. Now, this one is very funny, but you have to think about it. I'm just giving you a heads up on that one. Remember when Botox was a taboo subject, and now you mention it and nobody raises an eyebrow? Nice one, Jodi. Because they can't. Oh, interesting. Rinsky saying that's so funny that you mentioned that, because yesterday I stopped at a stop sign and the car behind me beeped at me. Yes. And he blew the stop sign after you. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Rinsky, the people who are inclined to do that, are also the people that are inclined to be right on your back bumper, whatever you call that in wherever you are. I can remember in downtown Vancouver one time, Rinsky, I had one of those people, and he was, literally on my taillights. And when I didn't leave quite quickly enough at the stop sign, at the traffic light, he blasted his horn. And you know what I did? Knowing he was that close to me, I got out of my car and I walked back to him, and with all the innocence in the world said, "Hi, do I know you that you're beeping at me like that?" And then he went, words I cannot repeat. And I said, "Oh, I thought I'd just check. Okay, I'll go back to my car now." And by the time I got back again, the traffic light had gone back to red and I didn't care. All right, so Beth is saying, what if there's no vaccine discovered? We will have to get it. We'll have to get the antibodies to fight it. Yes, I believe that is very true. And Nyash is saying, Beth, I've got a theory. Eat a lot of vitamin C and boost your immune system to the point where the infection won't stay within your body. I don't think be careful of a lot of vitamin C. If I'm correct on this, Nyasha, and in there, be careful that you check this out, please. Too much vitamin C can actually damage you. Did you know that? Getting enough vitamin C. Yeah, Rebecca's also saying that you can get vitamin C toxicity. Thank you, guys, for supporting me on that. Okay, so Beth's saying her husband can't wear a mask because of medical reasons. He has to carry a doctor's note to be approved to go in a store. Yeah, that's good that he has that. By the way, he probably needs a jacket with that written on the back. I am not allowed to wear a mask for medical reasons. Some people are just rude and some are just plain stupid, I'm afraid. No, you didn't know that too much vitamin C could be toxic. Okay, do some research on that. Stay within what they recommend. Don't overdo it. Find other ways to supplement your immune system. Jodi is an expert in that. She's been doing that for a long time. That's okay, Nyasha. We're here to try and protect you where we can. I didn't know that either many years ago until I heard about the fact that too much vitamin C could be toxic. So, but I think it's quite a bit. And I'm sure that if you talk to Jodi, she will be able to help you a great deal on, how much is okay and how much is toxic. So, eating a couple of oranges is not toxic. Not getting enough sleep can also alter your immune system. Thanks, Becca. I am trying to make sure that I get 7 to 8 hours sleep now. Good. Jodi's saying, it's good to talk about these things, Nyasha. I'm glad you mentioned it. Yes, you see, Nyasha, maybe other people will hear that, up your vitamin C intake, not knowing that it could be dangerous. So that's why we talk about these things. It's not that we have all the answers, but we know some of the pitfalls, and we are here to try and help each other. This is a nice one Jodi found, and it says, when you're at the checkout line and they ask you if you found everything, say, why? Are you hiding stuff? Nice one. Okay, Jodi, this one wins a prize as well. Never in a million years could I have imagined that I could be going into a bank teller, wearing a mask and asking for money. Okay, let me see. Beth is saying, my coworker got called the B word because she was not wearing a mask, but our company doesn't require to wear masks. I can't force her if the company says it's not required. Exactly. All right, so there you go. Jodi's got the stuff. Nyasha, never more than 2,000 milligrams a day of vitamin C. It's the very upper limit. So, Jodi, just so that people can get an idea of that, or actually I can do it. I'm just trying to think how much vitamin C in one orange. Hang on a second. Let's see. All right, so one orange is 100 milligrams of vitamin C. All right, just so that you know, Nyasha. So you can have quite a few oranges without it being a problem. How else are you taking your vitamin C? If you're taking it in tablet form, make sure you read how many milligrams that tablet is. They're normally either 500 or 1,000 milligrams, I think. Wow, that's interesting. Nyasha's saying, yes, Jodi is so blessed. She even got me to take my metformin back again. I never knew that a tablet could help with my dry eyes due to diabetes. Yes, and I'm a patient who got exactly that. Yeah. Jodi is a wealth of knowledge, unfortunately through experience. All right, so Rebecca's saying, and Rebecca works for the same company as Beth, but she's saying in our store, we are required to wear a mask now, but maybe it's just in Ohio. All right, so it might just be state by state, right? Yeah, and that's what Jodi's confirming, Nyasha. I've just got the experience with it, and I was glad to share. The thing is, that's why we're here, is to share what knowledge we have. And, hopefully it will help one another. Whatever you must do today, do it with the confidence of a 4-year-old in a Batman cape. Or in my case, a 2-year-old, jumping off the staircase with an umbrella, convinced that she could fly. Now, I don't mind telling you what was left at me at the bottom of the staircase was a very different story. Kentucky is required by May 11 to wear a mask. Good. Okay. If a store doesn't require it, but the state regulation insists, does the store need to comply? I don't know. I am not good on that stuff. Hang on a second. From what I can gather, Jodi, that federally they can say one thing, but state-wise they can change it. And then from what I've seen, individual stores are doing it differently as well. You know, it's a crapshoot out there. So just be aware. And that's why I'm saying when you go to a store, don't get angry at people. Here's your goal. When you go into a store, you know, this is really important. When you go into a store, have a list. Go in, get what you want, and get the heck out of there fast. Don't bother to get upset with people. Don't bother to argue with people. Don't bother with anything other than getting what you need and get out. And when you get out, sanitize your hands. When you get home, sanitize everything that you just brought into your home. And that's how to go into a store. Concentrate on getting in and out as quickly as possible. And let this other people do their thing. Please. You know, Einstein said two things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity. And I'm not sure about the universe. Yeah, but he is sure about stupidity, right? Beth saying, yes, don't be angry at people without masks. My husband said he feels like someone is going to start a fight with him or something. That's why I'm saying it might be a really good idea that he has a sticker that says, you know, medically not allowed to wear a mask. I would make some stickers for him and wear one on the back of whatever he's wearing and one on the front, Beth, so they can read it as they're thinking what an idiot he is, right? All right, so Becca's saying customers at work treat our stores like it's not essential shopping at all. They just meander for hours, some of them, and they always will, Becca. That's what I'm saying. Don't get angry with them. Unfortunately, they are the people that will most spread the virus, right? We know that, but we cannot control them. We can control ourselves. So if we can't control the other people, let's make sure we control ourselves. Don't let those people mess with your mind, is what I'm saying. Sure, it's a bigger risk, but the risk is not going away. It's going to be there. And really, anything that you hear that says, you know, well, don't worry, by the end of summer, it'll go away. Yeah, don't believe that either, please. You know, this virus will be around. Oh yeah, as Beth says, you know, what if we don't get the vaccine by, you know, by fall, which we probably won't, then we're probably in for another big hit of it. And then if we don't get the vaccine until this time next year, you know, the number of people who will have died will be so astronomically horrific that we will be, can you remember when we only had 1 million cases is what we'll be saying? Or can you remember when we only had, you know, 100,000 people dead in the States? We thought it was so terrible, but now look how many, you know. Yeah, and you know, that's why I'm saying, Beth, I think it would be really good, you know, for him to wear a couple of stickers. And I know he'd probably say, oh, I don't want to do that, you know, but I think he needs to because, you know, the thing is this, Beth, we've got stupid people out there that could put a bullet in him for not wearing a mask. You know what I mean? You know, when you've got people stupid enough to put a bullet in somebody who's innocently jogging down the middle of the street, in Georgia, you know, people's ability to tolerate things is going to go way down. And so anyway, it's up to him what he does, but I would definitely say if he wants less aggro, he can help by making sure people are aware. And I love this one. If you want to impress me with your car, it better be a food truck. All right. And this one is cute. If you see my kids locked outside today, mind your own business. We're having fire drill. We're at homeschool. That's a good point. Actually, I must talk to Benji and Jodi about that. You know, have they done fire drill for the kids being home? Um, all right, so Nyasha, let me just try and make sure you understand. Every lab in every country in the world is busy trying to do two things. Number one is to come up with testing kits, and number two is to find a vaccine. You need to know everybody in the world that has, you know, any scientific type brain power, every university, they're all working morning, noon, and night to try and come up with these things. The first patch of testing, there's been testing all along. The thing is that they found, Yasha, is that some of the tests that have already been released don't work well enough. All right, some of them are only, some of them are considered good and they're only 95% accurate. So you can get a false reading 5% of the time, you know, which could be pretty scary. So, you know, to me, it's about, there will be lots of different tests released, Nyasha. And the only way they will find out how good they are is when they release them and test them. So I know that they've got testing kits in the US and they're releasing them. And, you know, I don't know what the situation here is in Canada, quite honestly. Reading Facebook can be, just be careful, Nyasha, because you are inclined to believe things that you read. So double check everything, all right? So if you read this, then go to the BBC, which is the British Broadcasting Association, and check if they're also reporting it, that their first batch have been tested. All right. If you're getting something as well known as the BBC saying it, the chances are it's true. All right, so Becca's saying there's a new wave of medicine that I have heard about. That's like a reverse vaccine. Yes, I've heard about that. Well, taking antibodies from someone who's recovered from the virus and injecting into somebody who is still recovering. Yes, I have heard about that as well. The same as I've heard that blood thinners on those who are critically ill is working as well. There are all sorts of different things that are being experimented on at the moment. And eventually we will get, you know, some help. All right, so the vaccine, if there ever is one, will be like the flu vaccine. It will help, but if there are underlying conditions, you will still get sick. People will still die of the flu, a lot of people. Yes, as they have done every year. All right, and I totally agree with you, Beth, that what it will do is help some of us be a little bit more safe. All right, so Nyasha is saying, well, thanks. Yeah, maybe it wasn't a reliable newspaper. All I'm saying to you, Nyasha, is, you know, there is so much false stuff out there today. All right, so what you read on Facebook is not necessarily true. So all I'm saying is go to Snopes and check it out, or go to, you know, the BBC, which is, you know, very, you know, well-known British broadcasting situation. They will not be publishing that if it's not true. All right, so Becca is saying, I worry about Chloe being so very immune compromised. Absolutely, we all are. And yet she's probably done more for her fellow human being than any of us. Right? And that's the interesting thing. You know, by the way, Becca, let me ask you a difficult question, but I need you to get reality here. How does you worrying about Chloe help Chloe? Think about that. You worrying about Chloe makes you sick. That's the strange thing. The same thing as I had to forgive myself for not being able to go and give somebody I love very dearly a hug of condolence with the death in the family. You're right. I had to forgive myself. It's like there's no point beating up on myself about it. I have to forgive myself and move on. And I just made sure that she knew I was doing this for health reasons. All right, that she knows how much I want to come and give her a hug. Right, Rinsky's saying that's good. I tend to over worry. I assure you, we waste more time worrying about things we cannot shift. And we end up being sick. And I am sick and tired of doing that. Now I can care, that's different. I can have a moment going, gosh, that is such a risk for Chloe, but I am so honored to know her. And I move on. And by the way, yeah, I'll send her another note, which I do. I normally try and send something and make her smile. Beth is saying the masks are only to slow the rise so hospitals will not get overrun. Yes, life has to go on and we have to work. And the government can't keep printing money. Absolutely. By the way, what can you think about the value of our money? All right. What a dollar was worth 6 weeks ago was so much more than it's worth today. So much more. I don't know where to put my money. I've got a bit of money left over from selling the house and buying this one, and I don't know how to invest it, quite honestly, or whether I should invest it at all or just be happy to have it. You know what I mean? And not worry about, do I put it in stocks that could tumble even more? Or do I wait until the economy starts to pick up again and then start investing it? So, Becca, I want to tell you that was one of the greatest things to my mental health when I realized how much of my time I wasted worrying about things that I could not change. Yeah, Rinsky saying, I wish I'd invested in Zoom or Apple. You know, you remember when we first saw Forrest Gump, right? And he stood there and said, I don't know why, but he invested in fruit. And then the other person said he invested in fruit, yeah, apple or something. You know, and you're going, yeah, don't we wish? Was Sinsky, wasn't it? What's his name? Anyway, so, but you didn't. And don't waste, hi, Coco, good to see you, honey. So don't waste time worrying about what you haven't done or couldn't do or whatever. Remember, that is a waste of your energy. Yeah. Hi, Jonas, good to see you. Sometimes, you know, this is Jonas is saying, you know, I know what you're saying. Sometimes my mother overreacts and assumes I don't care because I'm not worrying about something which is out of my control. Just because I'm not showing worry doesn't mean I don't care. Yep, exactly. And the same way as I've actually had people say to me, gosh, you've become quite cold. And I go, no, I haven't. I just know I can't change it. I can change what I do for my neighbor. I can change what I do to protect myself as best I can. But, you know, it doesn't mean that I won't get the virus. It means I am doing the best I can. And by the way, Dougie is coming to visit me tomorrow for Mother's Day, which is on Sunday, but here in Canada. But, you know, we are going to be sitting miles apart and I won't be able to give him a hug. But that I would rather have than not see him at all. All right. And Ash is saying that's so true. Before Mama Sal, when my mom had undergone surgery and I was a nervous wreck, now that she has undergone the same procedure again, all I said to myself was, it is what it is. Well done, Asha. You have no control. Worrying about it is not going to change it. Doing something about it, that's different. My body has absorbed so much soap and water, hand sanitizer, and disinfectant that now when I pee, it cleans the toilet. That is way cool, Jodi. Yeah, I bet you laughed. All right, so Beth is saying the US is trying to pass a stimulus package of over $2 of 2,000 for every person for 6 months and tapering down to 1,000 a month for another 6 months, the dollar will be worth nothing. Yes, and it won't just be the dollar, right? It won't just be the US dollar. Every currency in the world is going to be devalued, all right? And you know what you want to be grateful for? You want to be grateful for that you weren't a multimillionaire. You know, because they're going to lose millions and millions of millions, all right? So there's part of it that goes, if you don't have money to start with, then the devaluation is going to be, you know, not a huge thing. The same thing as I'm going, do I want to invest my money somewhere and lose 20% in the next 6 months, or do I want to just leave it as it is? All right. So we will see. Yeah. I'm not quite sure how much they got, Coco. If Jodi reminds me, I will look it up and have a look at that. Yeah, I didn't hear big things about it, so that's why I'd rather just check that out. I know as a senior, I haven't received anything, obviously, but I am grateful to get my pension. And how about this one for those of you who work at the Dollar General or any other dollar store? No matter how bad it gets, I'm always rich when I go to the dollar store. All right, so that's interesting. Coco's saying I lost a lot on my 401k, but it's already come back. That's great. Good to hear it. And they will do, I can assure you, if you're in the States, President Trump will do everything he can to boost that stock market right up. They will be doing whatever it takes to make that stock market stay high. I don't know whether it'll be a good thing or a bad thing for our children and grandchildren, but I can assure you they will do whatever they can. Laurel K. Hamilton said, never trust people who smile constantly. They're either selling something or they're not very bright. And this is another one of Jodi's gems, I'm going to call them. Jodi, this is a gem. When a woman says, what? It's not that she didn't hear you. She's giving you a chance to change what you originally said. Yeah, Coco's saying that I'm just glad our household has been able to work the whole time. Yes. One of the things I think is so scary is those people who are being told they can go back to work, but fear for their lives if they do. I was listening to one governor talking about what they're going to do. For example, if a company says to its employees, you can come back to work, Tyson Foods being an example, and their people might be on unemployment insurance. And if Tyson says you can come back to work, but the employees don't think it's safe and don't want to go back to work, will they lose their unemployment? See, that is something that hasn't been tested in the law yet. And, it's like, can you force people to go back to work in an unsafe environment? And one of the things that they will have to do is to find a way. And Beth is saying they will replace them. Yes, they will replace them, no doubt about that. But they will also lose their unemployment benefits. So, it is really quite scary. And what about those that might be high risk? What I heard, Coco, and I'm not disagreeing with you, that you also read an article about it, but what I heard today, the governor says we may have to revisit that old law because that is based on a particular, people being meandering or whatever they call it. And they're saying that isn't the situation, right? If people are genuinely in fear of their life because their employer is not doing the right sanitation or whatever, then there has to be a way for them still to be allowed not to go back to work. I thought that was pretty good. And that's what the governor said. We're going to have to look at, different whistleblower type situations where the staff can report these things. All right, so let's see, is this. Some people are going back and they never got even a single unemployment check. Yes, I do know that. And Jodi's saying, yes, they will lose their job if they don't return. I've heard on a YouTube tax channel talk about it, unless the law is changed. What I heard the governor say today, or one particular governor say, is they're looking at changing the law because the law is based on something completely different from the reality of today. All right, so Rebecca's saying, yes, my brother was out of work for many weeks and he wasn't able to get unemployment and he's back at work already. Yeah, amazing. All right, so Nash is saying, should I be worried as an environmental worker? Our workforce is small, 5 individuals. In what way? Should you be fearful of passing it to each other? I think, if you socially distance, if you wear a mask will be a good thing. And if you socially distance your work party, you should be fairly safe. It's like, be careful. Find out what the guidelines are in your country. And here's another Jodi classic. Facebook needs 3 buttons: like, dislike, and stop being stupid. I know Jodi's going to tell me I need to do the countdown. Hang on a second. Before she gets to it, let me do it. She's probably busy punching that request in right now. So let me just get there before she needs to do it. All right, for those of you who are romantics, you've got 9 months and 11 days until Valentine's Day. We have got just 230 days until Christmas. We have got 6 months and 26 days to get our Christmas cards into the mail. You've got 6 months and 21 days until American Thanksgiving, and we Canadians have only got 5 months and 6 days because we have ours in October. You've got 2 months and 7 days in the States to do your taxes, and we Canadians have only got 23 days left. I haven't done mine yet. Summer is just 42 days away if you are north of the equator, and winter is just 42 days away if you are south of the equator. And I was saying to everybody at lunchtime, it is so hard to believe that I actually moved in here 3 months and 28 days ago. Yes, Beth, I was saying happy birthday to Lucas earlier. Yeah. I did remember, and we'll make a note to put it in our spreadsheet, please, Jodi, if you can remind me and make sure that I do it. So it's amazing that he's 8 already. Seems like yesterday. Wow. So that's what I was saying. It's hard to believe, isn't it, that I have been here for a third of a year already. Scary. And so I look at it and go, this year is going to be memorable because life as we know it changed. And whether we make that change and keep our mental health and use this to be better people than we were a year ago is up to us. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of us will. By the way, it is very easy to judge people at this time. Please don't. Some people who might not be wearing their mask, might be like Charles, not allowed to. Some people who are stupid enough to cough on you, maybe they're not all there themselves. You know what I mean? It's like, try not to get concerned about everybody else except to help those that you want to help. because that's what keeps you in a store. That makes you breathe more deeply because you're angry. Just go in there, get what you need, and get the heck out of Dodge. You know what I mean? So I thank you, Rinsky. I'm glad that I moved when I did as well. Very important. I'm very glad that I moved when I did. I'm very glad to be retired. I'm very glad to be fortunate enough to have a little money in the bank. Coco's saying we had a trauma come to the hospital that was someone who got shot working at McDonald's for kicking a customer. Out of the store. Wow. When they told him the lobby was closed, they shot 2 employees. I think we're going to see more of that, Coco. Medical health issues are going to come screaming out at us now. And that's why I'm saying don't engage with people that piss you off. Please don't do that. You don't know who's got a gun in their pocket. All right? And, so many people do not have the coping skills that you have got. Do not engage with these people. All right? Get into the store. Be very aware of what's going on around you. Try not to get upset with the person who cuts you off in the car or whatever. All right, Beth is saying our store has been robbed 3 times this month already. I need more hazard pay. Yeah, you do. You're not going to get it, but I agree with you. All right, and that's going to happen more often, not less. As people hurt more, it will happen more. Yeah, she's saying, I believe this year has taught us to become more conservative and to stop taking things for granted. We never miss something until it's gone. Well, life as we knew it has gone. I think it's gone for good, quite honestly. I don't think we will come out the other side of this the same way we came in. Jonas is saying, did you see the video of the Lethbridge police arresting that woman dressed like a stormtrooper? Had like 5 squads. Make a joke of themselves. Complete waste of resources. They're going to be stupid people, Janice. Yes, Sandy, I'm not surprised. Sandy's saying it feels like there have been so many more random shootings lately. Yes, absolutely, because as people get more stressed, as they get more panicky, as they get more, I need to put food on my table, their tolerance level is going to drop dramatically with it. And therefore, if you upset them, if you're in a country that allows guns, people are going to pull out guns. You imagine if your family is starving or getting close to it in your view, and there's a bag of flour, and 2 of you are going for that bag of flour, and one of you's got a gun, who's going to get the flour? Is it fair? No. Will it happen? I think so. Yes, I agree, Beth. As people are not able to work and get paid, it will continue to get worse. Absolutely. Be prepared, not scared. Be very aware and do everything you can to protect yourself is the best advice I can give you. And not to expect it to be all over, because it isn't. It's only just beginning. And that is the reality, I'm afraid. So we will continue to the best we can. On Friday lunchtime, I will continue as best I can to, give you a bit more learning. As I see it, I will continue to try and educate you on what I see going on and what I think you may want to be aware of. I'm hoping that the talk about food rationing opened some people's eyes to what is possible, but also made them realize we waste an awful lot of food. And already they are saying that by the end of the year, there'll be 267 million people, dying of poverty because of this. You understand they were already having problems with food, with drought, with global warming, overpopulation, and now we've got this. And so understand the world is in a very difficult state. If you live in America, be grateful. If you live in Canada, be grateful. If you live in a country and you happen to have your own ground and can grow your own food, be grateful. It's like there are different ways to look at this. And so getting upset is not going to fix it. Other people will get upset, but don't get involved. That is, I don't know how many times I'm going to need to say that to you, which is don't try and fix the other people. If they cannot see reality, if they're not prepared to understand it, please understand you're not going to be able to educate them. But I do know that some of us will go through this and we will learn a lot and we will support one another and we will come through this because that is what we do. All right? We support one another through the difficult times. And so if you need help, get it, all right, if you possibly can. If you're struggling with anger or frustration or whatever, don't ignore it. Get help for it. Would be very important. Jodi will make sure that we, every now and then regularly put up the helpline numbers for the States and maybe in Canada as well. So I want to say that take it easy. It's not going to go the way you want it to. And that's part of our learning. This is our time to use our intelligence, if you like. If we expect it to do the way that we want it to go, then we are going to be sadly disappointed. Unfortunately, it's going to get worse, way worse, before it starts getting better. And if you are prepared, but not scared, then you will get through this. So keep remembering to smile. Have a routine. I cannot tell you how important your routine is. It is so important to have a routine and keep to it. Have a routine about the food that you eat for as long as you can eat it. Start practicing eating less meat because you need to get used to that. Start practicing how to do with some of the luxury foods because you may have to do that. Is that a fish tank on my counter? No, it is actually way cool. Come on. Okay. Let's go with the ones that will. Yeah, you can go. So how's that, Coco? Isn't it beautiful? All right, everybody. So take it easy. Remember to smile. Remember, every day learn something. Every day find something to laugh at. Every day get some sort of exercise. Remember to keep changing your shoes. All right, walking around all day long in your flip-flops is not going to be good for your feet. Please remember to have a routine. Please remember to take some you time. All right? This is the way you will get through this. Panicking won't help you. Worrying yourself to death will just make you sick and more vulnerable. This is DearMamaSal saying, let's do this together. It's not going to be easy, but we can do it if we do it together and support one another. I'm certain you all want to give Jodi a big round of applause. She had some great quotes for tonight. Thank you for the hard work you put in to get those together every week, Jodi. We do appreciate it. And so all of you, look after one another, but most of all, as I keep reminding you, please, 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 remember to look after yourself. And this is DearMamaSal saying, we'll see you Sunday. Bye-bye for now. Maybe. No. I think so. Are you ready? Bye.